Death Stranding 2 has a release date. There's the pre-order information plus this deep dive that we're about to get into with a breakdown. Super excited about this. You can't even realize what you're about to witness. Hideo Kojima is my favorite creator for the Metal Gear series, and he happened to put a little homage there, which is deserves its own video, which you're seeing right this very second. And I cannot wait to dive into this game, but also just give you guys my amazing fascination with his creative piece. You're seeing a Metal Gear reference with the bandana. If you don't know the series, it's kind of the staple of one of the main characters. And we're going to be diving into this game, but I want to stop right away. June 26th is the official date, folks. So lock in on June. In the summer, we'll be streaming this, doing a giveaway, and much more. As a matter of fact, leave a comment. You might get selected as one of the winners for the giveaway for this game. Any game that I'm into, I want you guys to play. So I'm going to be definitely giving you all that. Speaking of Metal Gear, look at this headpiece on this brand new Transformer style enemy or friend. What is it going to be? It looks like a friend. So it's exciting, interesting. Again, props to Hideo Kojima with a crazy good trailer. But I want to tell you guys before we get started is Death Stranding is literally the word of what happened to the Earth in this game. So it's supernatural event. Basically, a bunch of wild things took place and basically ravaged the Earth so bad that people had to stay in their house. COVID. And it basically caused a pandemic in its own way, which forced part one, but I'm not going to spoil the story of part one. It forced people to stay in their home, and then they had these guys that delivered. You played as a main character who was able to deliver and help connect the world in part one. That's as far as I go as far as the story goes. Part two continues this, but it's extremely different and it's very powerful. We see a new character in the beginning that I want to kind of briefly touch on. He has a story. I'm not sure how this will connect to the deeper picture, but in this trailer, he basically confesses that he was transporting brain dead pregnant women who basically had this supernatural Death Stranding going on. And the reason this is important is because the whole game is about connecting. And when you connect to a child who has these superpowers, it allows you as well to connect to the other side, which is what's been happening here. Think about the dead, connecting to the dead or to some other dimension. And that's kind of what this game's about. I don't want to spoil part one too heavily, but the fact that he's basically saying he worked for the government doing this is outrageous. And then on top of that, his relationship. So I'm sure they're going to develop that storyline. And the game kind of has an extra storyline that's connected. But this right here is the main character, Sam and Lou, connected together back in this earth. And we're going to see a lot of them throughout this trailer, but you're getting to see the environment. One thing I got to say is that they're connecting this 11 months later. You're looking at what happened. This is the beach. And I want to take a moment just to kind of give you guys the quickest breakdown on what the beach is. So imagine if there was hell, heaven, a whole nother dimension that you can tap into. This is what this represents. Okay. And it's different for each person. Your interpretation can be, at this beach, or someone else's interpretation can be, in a war. Someone else can have different manifestations. But the point is, it's all connected to one big source that can cause an extinction. And now they basically found a way to connect the internet, people, and this thing, a different dimension, all together. So everything is kind of going crazy on all sides. And that's where this game is taking place, and it's doing some wild things. And as you can see right here, this is one of the biggest parts that they revealed. that now instead of you depending on someone to help connect the world, which is your main character from part one, they have automated systems that do the deliveries. So you don't have to worry so much, but that also makes it so that people lose more connection and people are more lost than ever because of it. And so this is a powerful message from Hideo Kojima about people losing connection with each other. Now, I did a breakdown about this portal. I'm calling it a portal. They're calling it a gate, but a portal gate. It's the same thing, isn't it? So they're be able to connect to the other side. And I'm assuming they're going to be sending these people in to try to stop Earth from being invaded and all the bad things that are coming in to keep that away. And so I'm assuming there's this big movement going on. People trying to take control so that they won't be in trouble. One thing I love about this is a Metal Gear reference. The head of Metal Gear looks like this, and one of my channels for Metal Gear represents this as well, using that basically same format. So they talk about how it's all connecting, and then you see the one and the only. I absolutely love her, Fragile. I didn't know about this actress really, but now I'm a fan of her because of her performance here, and I believe she's gonna have the biggest impact on this game, more so than last time. Last time she was my favorite, but this time around I feel like she's gonna have the biggest emotional draw because we're such fans of her, and we'll see how that plays. But you could just tell throughout this trailer she's impactful. And speaking of impactful, this is kind of a crazy scene to say the least. Sam has definitely been very disconnected. Now look at these guys bowing down to him. He's in the center of them. And this is odd because I wasn't sure if they were good guys or bad guys. We know that Higgs is back and he's no good, of course. But they are, and he's connected with them. But something is happening here where they're tributing him, Sam specifically. And maybe Higgs is coming in on this scenario and they're doing some type of ritual to, you know, stop him from exiting. And so that is kind of crazy to think about. Where does that go? How far could that take you? And so on. But as you can see, these things are starting to really evolve in different ways. And Kojima just had a presentation of this, by the way, discussing all of the insane things that are going to be taking place in this world. He says so much that I'm going to get into in a minute. But this baby right here is Lou. This is the main character of the whole series, in my opinion. Very fun, very beautiful. At first, I didn't think a kid should be in the game, right? But the way they did it is pretty special. This kid has a connection to the other side, and you basically raised them so far, and they're walking around for the first time. So very interesting to say the least, to see where this goes. But I'm absolutely loving it. And Hideo Kojima did explain that if you thought it was pretty intense before when it comes to combat with Higgs, he's going to be extreme, especially the final fight, is what he explained. So I'm excited about that. And you're going to be traveling through beautiful landscapes, as you see here. I'm always a jungle guy. I'm always like a winter or jungle. Those are two of my favorite biomes. And we're going to see. Death Stranding definitely had some of the greatest, but I want to see this little flood. The reason I want to see this is because I do think that this might be dynamic. There might be scenarios where things happen. We've seen it on one of the previous trailers. Now there's also forest fires. Hint to California. Sorry for everybody that lost some homes in the forest fires over there, but that right there is an example of Kojima putting the real world into this and kind of connecting all those dots. The horrific events that happen with the supernatural, but again, the Death Stranding is all of this is what's happening. And just look at the vehicles. There's these vehicles that can get in the water. There's a whole lot of stuff. You're still going to be traveling, delivering things as you go, and connecting people together. This time is going to be more intense. If you look at how Sam connects later on, it's pretty wild. He also can do the transformer thing that we've seen Hartman do. If you guys don't know the names of these people, apologies. I'm a huge fan. Maybe I'll do a full introduction to you guys, and leave me a like if this has been informative so far. But We'll do a big breakdown on each character and introduce you to the series proper. But as we go, Fragile's injured there. She was in the hospital bed. Maybe they were trying to repair her from the situation that you see here. She explains that she tried to teleport. She has a teleport ability that's pretty amazing. She can take you or anyone anywhere, but she couldn't do it here. For some reason, she couldn't take the baby. And I think because of the baby's connection to the other side and all that stuff, it's very difficult for her and the baby to go together. She leaves thinking she's taking the baby, but the baby stays. So she ends up coming back and basically realizes she has to send the baby. She has to concentrate all her power and send the baby. And now we see that she's about to get shot. So she saves the baby instead. And special moment. She's going to be very powerful in this story, in my opinion. Hopefully she doesn't die. I'm going to cry, but absolutely love her. And then, of course, you're seeing some boss fights. This is where the game is outrageous. When you play this game, you know, you might think it's a delivery game until you get into it. And you was like, oh, wait a minute. There's some crazy experienced boss fights in here that you'll never see in a lot of games. The creativity in this game is top tier. And you're going to have a good time kind of just experiencing that. And we're getting to see, I mean, a lot of boss fights. Shout out to Kojima for at least sharing that. And this is probably one of the most outrageous parts. I'm hoping this is gameplay and not just a cutscene. I don't want to hype you guys up, but this bike scene looks like you can shoot with your bike, which I'm going to replay a couple times because I am still at all about it. It would be amazing if this is really gameplay, and it would be so much fun, kind of like battling in its own right. And again, check out this boss right here, trying to eat you alive. There's a lot going on. And as you can see, you're not even on Earth, basically. You're like all over the place, everywhere in the world. Things are getting out of hand. And I want to take a moment to rewind that so you can pay attention to the atmosphere. Okay, don't just focus on what the screen is focusing on. Looks like it's water, like you're underwater. This looks like you're above Earth, right? And it looks like there's some cosmic energy going on outside. And just pay attention to this, the big moon. Are you even on Earth anymore? This looks like Hartman's area. This is a main character in the game. You're coming to visit him. He has a very high mountain area that he likes to go to. And this right here, this is the craziest part when it comes to what you know from part one. You're able to build these bridges, you're able to build shelters and do a bunch of different things. In the background, we're looking at an actual city, guys. It looks like the world is finally coming back together and they made a city, okay? So that is critical because the city's gonna get crazy. Kojima did confirm in his presentation that Higgs did a soundtrack, and he basically sung a bunch in the game because, as we know, Troy Baker's a singer as well. So they kind of featured him with the guitar and singing. And so this is the only real gameplay that I know for sure. Like this, all this right here, pretty cool. This game's gonna have way more gameplay. It's something that I talked about in previous videos. When the director cut of this game came out, Hideo Kojima explained that he realized people want more action and he was going to try to bring it, you know. So I want you to pay attention to some of these quick cutscenes that we just saw. I want you to see it again and think about like, okay, well, we're going to get more of this, invading bases, enemy bases, dealing with different bosses, having like real battles in the game where it's going to get intense and it's not going to be just delivering a package. So again, personally, I thought part one was a masterpiece, but part two looks like it's going to get crazy. They got a subway. They're using some zip line that looks like it's digital, which is kind of outrageous here. And then the question, and I mean, the conversation about what is really going on in the story, I'm interested in with Sam here. Who is on the table? It better not be Fragile, because me and Hideo Kojima are going to really go to war. It actually looks like somebody else. Either they have a baby in their stomach or they're a little bit heavy. And so I'm assuming it's a baby in the stomach, and we don't know. And Sam looks kind of young in this, so who knows what that's going to be. But man, oh man, it's a very interesting time with the way the game works. And you're looking at a special character, if you guys know who this is. The reincarnation or the resurrection, or what is going on here is the question. There's a lot of little detail. And again, they introduce to us all the characters. And again, I can do a big breakdown on each of them if you guys like. And I see 500 likes, we'll go ahead and do major breakdowns because I am going to be covering this game. This is one of my most beloved games. And they have some great actors and actresses that are going to be phenomenal. And so, super cool. If he's crying, you know there's something going on. And this right here confirms a lot to me about what has been happening. This character here, the brain dead mothers, and transporting them for experimental reasons that we don't know why. What type of madness are they creating? And this person right here to me is either the mother or the child of one of those people that person was transporting. And she looks like she's going to be one of the most powerful characters in the game. And will she be good, bad, evil? We don't know. I can say I have a big theory, but I don't want to spoil part one. Let's just say she might be the daughter of somebody very important from part one. And if that's true, then it's going to get crazy. Of course, we see a bunch of Hideo Kojima's friends in this game, which I can't get mad at. I love when he features them. It is always special. On top of having great actors, a couple of friends appearing as cameos is cool. A lot of context in here, and I don't have the codes yet. If anybody knows what it says up top, when you find it, go ahead and leave it in the comments, because like I said, I'm happy to do a bigger, deeper dive. This is going to be just more the core. Again, Lou's getting bigger and better. And then this is the biggest representation. I know it's not much, guys. I know you probably think, oh, it's just him shooting. But part one had nothing to do with shooting, okay? The game didn't want you to see explosions or bullets. Hideo Kojima's changing that. And in the trailer, they explain that in order to connect, in order to have the strings, aka connecting, you need sticks. A weapon is a form of attacking, not a form of connecting. So this is where the representation is heaviest, because in the original trailers of Death Stranding, it did not have any explosions or gunfire. And now things have changed drastically, and it's a representation of the new world that has been devastated with more craziness. And this is kind of wild. They actually kiss. And they don't just do a quick tap kiss. This isn't a mistake. This is like passion and maybe a farewell. I think she's crying because something bad has to happen here. And maybe they're kissing for supernatural reasons. That's the new excuse, you know? Yeah, but that's going to be interesting to see how they play that role together. We did not get that in part one. That's a spoiler, but it's okay. You guys been here long enough on this video. And this is kind of outrageous. Higgs was already a badass, and I think a lot of us love him. I know I do. So I'm just curious on how extreme what Kojima said in the presentation was Higgs is going to be so high level beyond anything we've seen before. And that to me says a lot, you know. And so I'm excited to see where he goes in this deep dive that we're doing. As you can see right here, he's able to transform, and he's going to be doing some wild stuff. You can tell he's kind of like morphed into some being, and he's outer body. He's going to have an outer body type of presentation for me. And of course, the little wacky stuff like right here, Pinocchio type of reference. We'll see how that goes. And there's a lot, and I mean a lot of little stuff in this next part here. You can see how they're connecting, representation of the internet, connecting with the real world, where it's two different things. The internet, people won't say the same things they'll say to you online that they'll say to your face. It's just not going to happen. All right, so all of these hands and trying to connect, but in a wrong way, creating and transforming into these giant creatures. Now, There is a part of this trailer where one of the good guys called Hartman, he's one of your friends as a protagonist, ends up connecting a machine on top of one of these, taking control of it. So I'm assuming he's fighting back. I assume he's trying to also end this battle, end this war, and actually get back to it. So it's very curious on how that's gonna go. And again, this character to me in part one, there was a main character who had a separate story that connected. He's doing the same here. And again, the representation of Metal Gear is outrageous. It might be a hint to Kojima making a Metal Gear game, remaking something, or a new Metal Gear game. We'll see. Or just saying, Metal Gear's dead without me. Skull and Bones. So I don't know, but I love the metaphor and just a representation of, we're back, baby. And that's fun. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it would be amazing if he comes back to Metal Gear, but I'm happy with Death Stranding. I'm happy with whatever he wants to make. He has multiple games in the works that are gonna be covered. But again, June 26th this year, I'll be playing it. I'll be streaming it, doing videos and all of that good stuff. So make sure you like and also leave a comment to have a chance to win. We'll be selecting people all the way up until release. Try to give as many copies away as I can, but your support is needed because I try not to put as much commercials on my videos and just entertain you guys for you to have fun. All right, hope this was a good trailer for you. Enjoy. Have a blessed one. Peace.